Katie, what was your background? And because it seems like you guys all relate really well with your testimony here. What was your background?
Well, I grew up in the mainland in Wisconsin, born in Chicago, moved to Wisconsin, and I grew up on this big farm. Francie was also a big farm girl, so we all had that in common. And, I ran wild, shooting, going hunting with my mom, doing all the things very tomboyish. And then when I was 10, we ended up moving to Hawaii. And all of a sudden there was a big culture change because at that time, Hawaii didn't have a lot of Caucasian people that lived there. They mostly had, the locals, the Hawaiians, the Samoans, some Korean, people like that. And so when somebody of a different color comes in, people kind of, they don't know how to handle it. And so the way that the locals handled it when I arrived was, if we don't understand you, we're going to beat you up. We're going to attack you. So I am, this little Caucasian girl, and the locals, and I don't blame them. I love Hawaiian people. I love Hawaii. But, I got on the bus, so I had a choice. It was either continue to be beat up and picked on or become the person that started beating up people and picking on people. So I chose the latter, and I became very tough, very aggressive, very violent, and that led to drug addiction. That led to me cooking meth. That led to me being a collector. I started doing collections for other drug dealers, for the Mexican mob. I started, when people owed them money for a deal and they weren't paying, I was the one that went and got the money. So I cultivated this very aggressive, very violent lifestyle. And I eventually ended up going into jail like at least a dozen times. And then finally, when I was I was cooking meth. I got arrested by the feds and got 12 and a half years sentenced to Fed time.
Wow. Did you serve out that full time?
Well, actually, God did a miracle. It's a long story that I'll try to cut very, very short. I got sentenced to Fed prison in California where, what is that woman that, Rockefeller's daughter? She went and robbed a bank with a machine gun. She got sent there.
Patty Hearst.
Patty Hearst.
Yeah.
Was sent to the Fed prison I was in before I got there. The Tylenol killer, the lady that was killing everybody with Tylenols was there. The lady that shot Gerald Ford was there. It was a big shot. It was for the high-end Fed prisoners, so I was there. And about a year or two into my sentence, after I'd already done a couple years in holding, the Lord said, I'm going to get you out on November 21st. And he gave me the days and everything. And I started going around saying, God told me I'm going to get out of my sentence this year in 57 days, November 21st. And the whole place was laughing at me. My counselor sent me to the facility psychiatrist because they lost my mind, because they heard that I was talking to God and that God had told me that I was going to get out in 57 days on November 21st. And it ended up not happening on that day. And everybody's like, I told you so. God doesn't exist. She's listening to she's gone crazy. She's listening to some devil or whatever. But it ended up that the next year, I got a call from the court system saying that I'd won an appeal to go back to sentencing. So I did. And we won the court, even though I was totally guilty of crime. They busted me in a lab. And I ended up getting out on 21st, and it was actually my 57th month in captivity. So did it.